or a glass beads game or something for Eric.
Is that a weekly recurring event?
It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure, let's do it. So glass bead game?
Yep.
Would be the title.
Uh-huh. And then just organized by Eric. And it happens within the press conference, all caps.
Let's see. Okay.
Or you could just put, yeah, that's a good question.
I'll change it after. I can't add it because I'm not an admin of the press conference group, but you could.
Oh, very good. No, Chrysalis Network is fine. That's totally fine.
I'll update it later.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in terms of, let's see, Eric. Okay. Do you guys have a description you use for it in the email?
Just put I don't. But it's just the glass beads game. Simon, I don't know if you have more to say about that.
No.
Okay.
Thought-provoking conversation methodology.
It's structured conversation.
Ah, even better.
There you go.
And it's a structured conversation practice.
If you want more text, that we put it in our newsletter. The last newsletter in CicoLab had some good text in there that came from a bit from Jen. And anyway, if you really need more.
I'm gonna add this Wikipedia link to the event so people can actually read into. This is the same glass bead game, I'm assuming, or no?
No, it's actually no. It's not relevant directly. I mean, it's indirectly, but it's a good reference. But it doesn't actually talk about the game in the book. There may be a piece in there if you hunt for it, because that's it. Yeah, it's different.
Oh, here the game.
If you go to the STOA website probably has a little blurb on it if you really, but just if you find the CicoLab newsletter. Anyway.
Charles, if you have that, you could just paste in the chat. That would be great.
I'm chopping garlic here. Can I just tell you the short link for the newsletter if you want?
Sure.
If you really want
actually,
it.
Hold on.
You don't need it, but yeah, that's good.
This is probably let's join us in the conversation. Block party, Chrysalis.
You can put caps on the conversation, the capitalized conversation capitalized .cc, because that's the Zoom room of the conversation.cc, which is where all these meetings are. Mm-hmm.
The glass bead game is a way of playing with the ideas of human culture. It uses them like a painter paints with colors on the palette. The insights of the world's great scholars and artists have been reduced to core topics with which the glass bead game player plays. It is up to us to design and perfect the game. Theoretically, the game can carry the entire knowledge of the universe. I would give just credit to who wrote this. Do you guys like that description? Should we give credit to the Stoa for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Could have been Eric directly, but yeah.
Yeah, anyone know where that quote might have come from?
Eric he doesn't really like to take credit so much, right? He doesn't want to use his name. Even in this document that he shared, we had to ask him, like, who wrote that? He's like, oh, I did. Anyway.
That's right. In fact, he likes to go by liberate mankind more than by Eric.
So Eric came up with this game or wrote the document?
No. Oh, probably this document, but I don't know. We have to ask him.
Okay, cool.
I don't know who came up with the game, because if I understand, Hermann Hesse didn't really describe the game in much detail in the book. I think it was just somebody or some group of people evolved it, but I'm not sure about that.
So this is Friday.
There's a Discord.
It's actually
for
Thursdays.
all this.
Yeah,
Thursdays?
Thursdays, 3 to 5 Eastern, if you're going on Eastern time.
Cool. That's the 13th. Okay, yep, sounds good. And then we'll add it for when? Until like August, or when are you confident it'll go until?
Until Hell Freeze is over. Eric is very consistent, very committed to it. So yeah, just as long as you want to go.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it 11 times, and then at the end, it's pretty easy to add 11 more. Just so if we want to change it, we can. And then the conference link.
I just put it in the chat.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just remembered actually Sundays at, I believe it's 1 a.m. Pacific time, they're doing a glass bead game in the same place. Just started last Sunday by, accident, whatever.
Marco, should I add this to the description, you think, as well?
Yeah.
Same place, meaning here? I missed that. We're talking Stoa.
In the conversation.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool. So public, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the conversation, Radish. I don't know if I have Block Party, but I have those two. And then, okay, so are there any other communities that we should tag and put this on their calendar?
As far as I'm
CicoLab.
concerned, the more
I would
the
say
better.
CicoLab. I would love to, because CicoLab's a recent fan of the glass bead game.
Cool. Okay, so I just added CicoLab.
Sweet. Wow, it was that easy. It's great.
Any other ones that come to mind that you guys are aware of or that might be on Trove already? If not, then the next step would be, what are the kind of networks that the glass bead game falls underneath? I think it would probably be sense making.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe collaboration and collective action.
Do you have one for art making or like creative something? Because it's super creative and generative.
I actually do, but I haven't finished it yet, so it's not here. But we can add that after.
Because it kind of has it actually has almost a meditation, or there's some other word that's escaping me, but like it doesn't have it's more about the process and the goal. Like it doesn't have an outcome or a product. It's really about the participation and being in the moment, being very present.
So what tags should we add? The tags could be literally anything. I put art.
Collective intelligence.
Philosophical.
I mean, it really goes in the spirituality realm as well. I don't know if that's relevant to what's in there, but
I feel like I'm not spelling this right. Philosophical. Philosophical. There we go. And then event type. So I'm going to put a Zoom. And then we could also potentially, So this is something I haven't put much thought into the event types, but I think we could probably make it so we can like so you can add your own. Would there be like I guess what would be the category of an event type for glass bead game? It's kind of like a participatory game, I would say.
Definitely.
Right?
Or even a conversational game, if that's a type.
I mean, that was one of the key ways that Eric described it as structured conversation, just to say that again.
Okay.
It's also incredibly social. You can get to know somebody very quickly that you've
Yep.
never met before.
Thought enhancing.
It's
Thought-provoking.
casual.
What was that?
I was saying
missed
it's a casual conversation. Casual, like, you know, it's not serious, like.
Cool.
It's a selfless conversation.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. So maybe I'll put the Google Doc link here, and then the last thing is, do we have a good photo? I'm assuming that's no, or
Glass beads. Just find a picture of glass beads,
yeah, okay.
or a single glass bead. Maybe that's kind of more the.
So who can edit this, Vincent? Just Eric, because you put him in as organizer?
Right now, just Eric. I could also add the ability for other people to, yeah, I guess anyone who's considered an organizer can edit it. So Eric would be able to edit it, and I can add you guys as organizers of it too, so you can go and edit it later.
I just want to let Eric know that it's up there so he can take a look. And
Cool. Let's see. All right, maybe I'm gonna just go on Envato so we have actual rights to the photo.
It's tempting to do like multiple, but the concept is really the single bead per game.
You guys like any of these?
I can't see it. Oh no. I can.
Somebody actually blowing glass.
Keep going. I kind of like the translucent glass, if you can find something that's more, looks like glass.
I could also add a stock photo of conversation.
Does someone have the glass bead?
Yeah.
They can just take a picture and send it over. Come on.
No, I like Vincent's idea about people just talking with each other.
All right.
These are so corporate, I want to vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. How
How
about a campfire? Like, I don't know. It's more like the vibe, right?
Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually. Campfire.
Yeah, CicoLab's starting to think about it.
Oh, something
It's
like this.
campfire.
This, I think I like this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Does anyone else want to be an organizer so you can edit it? Simon, Jamen, you guys want me to add you?
Sure. Please.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, any of this can be edited, so I'm going to submit unless anyone else has anything else.
No, awesome. Perfect.
Cool. So it's gonna, yeah, duplicate and create 12 of them. And so let's see what it looks like. Cool.
Great work, man.
Nice.
What's that?
Great
Awesome.
work.
Cool, cool. So let's see if this works. We're gonna do some live troubleshooting. Zoom meeting, awesome. Glass bead game comes up. If we filter by Radish, it comes up. And then category sense making, cool. And then if we go to the calendar view, should be the same thing. So yep, that's weekly. And then I'm not.
I just put a link in the chat of a really nice single glass bead.
Photo. Let me go to the chat. Is this it says Google Shopping. Should I go to it? Let's see. My only concern is I want to make sure we have the rights to the photo, which we do with the way that I have a subscription to this, so I pay artists for their contributions. Oh, that's cool. I actually know a lot about Murano glass. I almost went to visit. Oh wait, so is this? Now I'm curious. Do you guys know the story behind the glass bead? Is this have anything to do with the glass bead game, or I don't know?
Probably not.
But Murano glass is incredible.
So what's the story? Come on.
Well, my dad has a tile company, which he's not really a part of it anymore. I think he sold it, yeah, about 10 years ago. But when I grew up, I would spend my summers organizing tile samples, and I always loved the kind of like the Murano glass ones were like my favorite. And yeah, we were actually visited like a place in Italy when I was younger that had like all the different like Murano glass, and it's just gorgeous.
Looks a bit like a chrysalis.
Right?
Hey.
So I am not an editor of the event, so I can't edit it, which is fine. But yeah, so if you go to the event, but any of you guys can edit it. If you want to add that as a photo, you can. And then this is the event page. Oh, actually, maybe I can edit it because I created it.
You can do whatever you want, right?
I have special permissions because I'm the editor.
I would think so.
Yeah, cool. So I don't know if this fits with your vibe, but what I did was I made it link available soon so that people can't Zoom bomb. So the link will only show up if you go here and it's like within 15 minutes of the event. But if you add it to your calendar, then it'll have the link there. But it's just so people don't just go to, ooh, what events now? And then click and then just go into the meeting. Like I wanted to kind of prevent that.
Can I just, I don't know if this is easy or quick to fix, but just if you could make a note, because there was a question about how long you set it for CicoLab. It's not a big issue, but I was just curious if what number you put in, and if you can sort of change that, or
yeah, what would be the a good ending time for the CicoLab events? Because I don't know.
We're gonna start to shorten them actually, but I don't know. I mean, we don't have to talk about that now, but I did want to ask you about that. But I mean, if it's what do you have it set for? That's what I wasn't sure.
I'll go to the Kiko. Actually, I'll make some of the CicoLab events because I haven't made it repeating since I did this update.
If that's useful for this meeting, otherwise we don't have to do that now. So
I mean,
I'm just
Charles,
here, you know.
do you want to screen share and try making the CicoLab event?
No, because I'm just making some food and I'm on my phone, and actually I got to plug in because my battery's down. No, it's not a big priority right now. It's a very small issue, but just something to mention. Thanks.
We can do it later. But yeah, so the this link opens up the Google Doc, which is awesome. And then yeah, if you're logged in, you'll be able to edit the event. And then I'm gonna add the photo. Let's see if I could do it. So there's two, you could change the cover photo. The other thing, I actually kind of like this cover photo. The other thing you could do is you could upload images. And so if you wanted to add images to the, like after the event of like a call, wrap or anything, if you download that image, you can upload it. And also if you want to add a notes, like call notes file, you can add that and it'll attach it. And the same thing with like the call links. If you wanted to add any like links that came out of the meeting, you could put a title on the URL and then hit submit, and it adds it to the list of links.
How about if we put Eric's face on there? He would love that.
And Vincent, in terms of links and call notes and all that, you can do that before, during, or after the meeting?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, right now this is actually, this is the event in 5 days. You can add it now. You could delete either this event or you can delete all the events. And then you could also, actually, these two features, I'm still working out some things because I added a lot of new features that need to be synced over. But if you get to like the last event, so this is event 2 out of 12, if you get to the last event, you could just hit duplicate and then you can create it for another, 12 or 20 times. You could also click go to the first event and it'll take you to like the first event of that series. So this event is ended, and you can upload the call notes, the links here, and then if you view the event and the event is over, it'll basically say this event has ended, but it'll show you all the kind of artifacts that came out of the event. So event ended 0.9 days ago, and then here is where all the information from like the event repository will go. And so I'll show you what that looks like for like an event that we started curating.
This is so right on time, Vincent. You rock so hard. This is beautiful.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, it's like, I mean, CicoLab has been a huge inspiration for me. You guys are, and also Chrysalis and this community. So no, it's I think match made in heaven is what I would say.
Yeah, we feeling it.
Let's call it a mashup made in heaven.
Exactly. So yeah, this is the first event that we like prototyped this feature of like adding notes and links to the call. And I'm gonna add the video too. So we had a discussion about like tokens and registries. And so in the call repository, there's a list of all the different links that came out of the conversation. And then, oh, I think I actually overwrote something. Let's see. So yeah, basically you can attach files, images, links to the call afterwards. And maybe I'm actually, Charles, I'm gonna highlight the CicoLab call repository as the goal to get to is, yeah. So this is kind of like personal mission / collective mission is how do we make a really easy process to curate the knowledge that comes from these awesome conversations in a way that it can be found later by others to catalyze action. And so obviously this is just a first step at that. But so this is like taking some of the, hours of Lauren, Charles, and mostly Lauren, I'd say, right?
Mostly Lauren, for sure.
mostly Lauren's work of making a database of all of the past calls, the date, call summaries where you can see the notes from all the past calls, the links, and then have a really easy way to say, oh, let's check out the video from that meeting, or check out the call wrap or the auto transcript, and have it open up and be able to see, like, you could search and find a meeting that like fits the kind of topics you're interested in, and then find, go right to the YouTube video. So this is something that also I think, yeah, might be interesting for the conversation to start playing with, having a call repository on Trove. But yeah, oh, that's not me.
I have a quick question when you have a moment to think about it, but go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so the last thing I'll say, and then Charles, that'd be great. So right now, this is kind of going based off of all the curation that has been done in the past. So like topics, the hot seats, the questions that were asked during those calls. But what I think would be helpful is, how do we create a process that actually makes it easy to do this in a way that also thinks about, like, what do we want this call repository to look like in an ideal scenario? And then how do we design a process that makes that possible? So for example, if you want to be able to filter, filter by basically the people who presented at the event, that's possible because we started to log that in CicoLab. In Open Global Mind, which is another group that some of you might be familiar with, Stefan started logging basically a list of, and I think Lauren did this too, but I just haven't implemented yet. Months ago, started logging a list of all the people that attend each event. And that way you could go and you could filter and you could find exactly the people that you can find yourself in events. So you could say, ooh, which event was Charles talking about this? Or which event was I talking about this that I want to go back and send it to somebody? And so you can actually filter and search by the people that attended an event, by the topics, by the type of event it was, or even by like a learning or something. So I'll show you one example of that, where you can say where the attendees contains Vincent, and then it will filter down and show you all the events that I was at. So I'm done for now. Charles, over to you.
It's kind of tangential, but in its particular CicoLab, and I just don't remember if you have you dealt with the newsletters at all? It kind of relates, but it's a little bit in between, because they come before the Monday, but they don't always go on the same day. But we do have and it's MailChimp. So MailChimp has a handy link that shows the whole archive. But I think I'm just realizing that's, we can come back to that off of this, meeting, but because we do have the wraps and, basically the reviews from the previous session and the previews. So it kind of ties it all together also on a weekly basis, and they have like, specific subject lines and so forth.
Yeah, we should totally do that. That's a great idea.
It's kind of an easy one, but it'll take a bit of time. So
let's talk about that. I think, yeah, and something that's even, so once you have the data in a structured thing like this, you could also pretty easily create automations where it's like, click a button and then send to all the people that attended to their emails, send out the event page that has all the stuff that came out of the event. So we can also start to tie in some stuff like that, where it's like automating the management of updating people on after the event, of like when the call wrap is done and all that stuff.
Cool.
So yeah. Do you guys have any sort of call repository? How have you guys been storing, Jamen, the different, I know you have a lot of recordings, you put them on YouTube. the call repository is probably on YouTube, right?
Exactly, but it's very inconsistent. It's kind of like whichever ones I end up having time to upload and everything, because I've been pretty overwhelmed in recent weeks. But the idea is certainly that we upload to YouTube, and I would love to make this process kind of more open source, so that you know, as we upload them to YouTube, then you know, other folks can edit and you know, annotate and all kinds.
What you really mean is collaborative.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, because open source by itself, it doesn't mean anyone's going to pay any attention.
You're right. Collaborative.
Believe me, I know what I'm talking about here.
I believe you, Charles. I do believe you. 100%.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a related question, Jamen, because I know that you also from time to time do some, I guess what I would call raps, or just kind of edited, excerpted, highlighted, you know, clips, and so there must be that's kind of a special group. I don't know how many of those or how consistently you're doing those, but that would also be a valuable collection. It's not just the long form dialogues, right?
Totally. Yeah, we often do that as kind of like a separate, not often, but sometimes do that as a separate recording at the very end of a long meeting. But that's,
or even in the middle. Sometimes you just sort of stop and then start. I've seen you do that. So
yeah. Yeah, it's been very sporadic. Yeah.
So I would call this like featured shorts or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, there's a startup that I'm associated with rather loosely that I won't mention them because they haven't even launched yet, and you know, they're in kind of very early stage, but they've got the technology that they're applying to podcasts to do this, to basically they've got this huge library of podcasts, and you type in a question and it'll take you not just to the podcast that best addresses that, but literally the slice within that, the 30 seconds within that best addresses what you just typed into the search. And I am just salivating to see that applied here.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll be video or audio or both.
It would be video or audio,
Video
but the searches are based on the transcripts of the audio.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they've got a super cool interface, so that, like, let's say that there's several podcasts that are relevant to what you just typed into the search. You literally scroll up and down, and you can listen in as you scroll. Listen to this, 30 seconds here, 10 seconds there. Keep scrolling. Yeah. Oh, well, that's it. You know, and then you click on the podcast and listen to the whole thing or whatever you want.
How long do we have to wait before we see any taste of that? That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Only a few months, and I'm you know, pretty well plugged in there. So I mean, you know, a bit arm's length, but they're friends. And
any beta testing needed, you know where to come.
No, totally. No, and I've already told the founders about, you know, what we generally are doing here. So they know about us. They're mainly focused on the podcasting space just for their own commercial purposes. But I've said, hey man, guys, there is huge potential here for that, because this is kind of, you know, it's related to podcasting, but it's way more vast, right? I mean, there's way more just Zoom meetings happening that are recorded and uploaded, as opposed to like, hey, welcome to the podcast. You know, that's more kind of media production. You know, here we're kind of exploratory. But
all you have to do is just do that with your voice, Jamen. That's it.
Yeah. You know, and if doing a podcast is what it takes to get in the space, we can do that too.
Yeah,
we got enough talent here.
They're mainly focused on kind of the more popular podcast, the kind of Joe Rogan kind of stuff. Anyway, but that's partly because of computational constraints. But fortunately, you know, the trend is the more time passes, the easier and cheaper it'll be to digest, you know, petabytes of podcasts and whatever. So we'll definitely get there, and I'll keep after them so that as soon as they're ready, we can start doing that, even on kind of a pilot scale, because here it would just be like, hey, listen, we've got this really tight set of basically CicoLab, you know, Chrysalis, this, that, put in some of the favorites and say, look, you know, we got to get this done, you know, let's work on that, because I think that could just really help this whole space just explode in a very good way, making it searchable.
Yeah.
Explorable.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So, Jamie, is there anything, how are we on time?
No, really good, really good. We're totally flexible. So it's totally up to you.
Okay. Probably want to wrap in like 15 minutes. I'm going to grab some lunch because I haven't eaten yet. But I guess to close up for today, so we'll do this next week, same time.
I would love to do it as a weekly thing.
Okay.
And then now separate from